Infrastructure projects were a big topic of discussion for Council at this week's GPC meeting. Jace Mackey has more on what was discussed.
City administration presented a report to the committee recommending a sole source procurement for the timing and coordination project on 50th Avenue. Using the same contractor that installed the 44th Street project is expected to provide savings, as they have already troubleshooted issues such as the height of the cameras, and having an integrated system was also seen as beneficial.
Having them speak to each other and integrate with the system that we spent money on last year is critical. We'd be going backwards if we introduced a second system and tried to build the bridge between the two systems. So I think that's the biggest part of that. The biggest saving and the biggest benefit, and certainly trying to help traffic move on 16 and 17 at that intersection and coordinating it, ensuring that people aren't seeing the light turn green and being 2 blocks away and not able to get to that light is frustrating. So getting that all working together will be beneficial for the entire city.
Council also accepted the transload feasibility study. Transloading is a process of transferring a shipment from one mode of transportation to another. The city is eager to explore this opportunity as Lloydminster is situated between Edmonton and Saskatoon and is served by CN and CP.
From the perspective, one of the options of looking at having different agriculture. As an example, containers that are loaded in North Battleford today that are making their way across the city of Saskatoon, we could shorten their trips by 2 hours a day, 2 hours per load. So that almost represents a third load that potentially could be brought to Lloydminster if that's what we ended up with. From the perspective that you also then have people in the investment world saying, oh, we now can think outside, they think outside the box from the perspective of what they have. Maybe they're open to this idea, and I think in today's economic conditions, we have to be open to almost anything and everything, as long as A, it's legal, and B, that it makes sense for our community.
Council was also updated on capital infrastructure projects. Uncertainty surrounding COVID-19 has caused some delays on projects, but the weather hasn't been much help either.
Well, it's always concerning. We can talk about the two seasons that exist in our city and across Western Canada, if not Canada and Northern United States. One's known as the construction season, the other is the winter season, and I don't want to talk about the second season right now. So our city engineers, our contractors, and our consultants deal with this each and every year. Some years it's drier, some years it's wetter. Our experienced contractors have worked through this, and they'll adjust their schedules accordingly to ensure that projects get delivered as soon as possible, because it's also money for them. A longer project drags out, it takes longer for them to get paid.
Mayor Albers also inquired about the conditions of the intersection of 44th and 62nd, and the intersection is on the city's radar.
And in that intersection, I drive across it a couple times a day. It has just deteriorated over a period of time this year in particular. It's back to the freeze-thaw cycle that James talked about from engineering. So basically, we've secured $1.69 million from the government of Saskatchewan. We've applied for that project to get their final approval. So they've identified the money. It requires their approval to move forward on it. Engineering's already started to work on it because we realize something has to be done. It's a very busy intersection in this city. It sees a lot of traffic for both the oil and gas industry, as well as agriculture, as well as every commodity that stops for fuel and service in the north end. They turn at that intersection. So we realize it's got to be fixed. The important step is that people need to realize is there is underground infrastructure that will have to be updated before we put concrete in, and that's the plan. We've allocated $900,000+ from 2021 budget for capital to make sure that project moves forward. And it's going to take a little time. Engineering's working on it. You will see temporary asphalt repairs until we are able to actually complete the correct and the best fix to that, because we could lay new asphalt there and then have to rip it up in 6 months or 9 months, and I'm sure people will be more than glad to comment about how the city can't fix the streets for the first time and they have to do it a second time. So we are going to do it right the first time, but until we can get there for the first time, it will be challenging, and people will just have to live with a few bumps and slow down as they cross that intersection.
The 2019 report to the community was also presented to the committee and is available on the city's website. Jace Mackey, Primetime Local News.